You have probably seen the school page transition effect on a lot of award-winning websites recently, where the new page animates in while the current page is still visible. A few weeks ago, I shared a tutorial on how to create this effect using the View Transition API for HTML pages, and I received a lot of requests to make a Next.js version of it. So I decided to cover this topic because it seems like many of you are using Next.js to build websites, and right now there aren't many in-depth videos on YouTube that show how to create this transition step by step in Next.js. Today, we are going to build this widely used page transition in Next.js 15 using the Next View Transitions library. Along with that, I'll also show you how to add GSAP animations using the Use GSAP hook and SplitType plugin, while also adding Lenis smooth scroll across all pages. Since this is a step-by-step guide covering everything from start to finish, the video might be a bit longer, but if you'd like to access the source code for this project and hundreds of other similar projects, you can check out the Pro membership. The link is in the description. Also, since creating content like this and posting 2 videos a week takes a lot of time, I would really appreciate it if you drop a like on this video and subscribe if you haven't already. It helps more people discover my work and supports the channel's growth. Alright, let's get started. I've got an empty folder open in VS Code, so let's set things up. First, we'll create a fresh Next.js app using the create next app command. As usual, for this project too, I'll be skipping Tailwind CSS and writing my styles manually with CSS. Of course, we'll be using the app router, so make sure to select that option. That takes care of the initial setup. Now, since we'll be integrating Lenis smooth scroll later, I recommend downgrading React from version 19 to 18. I have observed that Lenis doesn't play well with React 19, so if you don't plan on using Lenis, you can skip this step. But since we are, I'll go ahead and update my React modules to version 18. Next, we'll install all the necessary libraries and plugins. We'll need GSAP, SplitType, and Lenis, so let's install those first. Make sure you install the React version of GSAP to be able to use the Use GSAP hook. Finally, we'll install the View Transition library, which powers the page transitions in this project. If you want to dive deeper, you can find its documentation on GitHub. Once all the dependencies are installed, we can fire up the local server by running npm run dev. And just with that, our Next.js app should be up and running on port 3000. Now let's start by cleaning up the boilerplate code. First, I'll open the globals.css file and remove everything inside it to start with a blank slate. Next, I'll go to the page.module.css file and clear out all the default styles there as well. Then, I'll open page.js, remove the existing HTML and replace it with a simply empty div that has a class name of home. This will serve as our home page. With the cleanup done, let's add our static assets. I'll open the public folder and drop in some images that we'll be using throughout the project. And that's it. Our setup is now clean and organized, so we are ready to start structuring our pages. For the home page, we don't need much, just a simple h1 with some placeholder text. Now, let's set up the additional pages. Inside the app folder, I'll create a new folder called projects and add a file named page.jsx inside it. This will serve as our projects page. I'll define a basic function called projects and export it. This page too will return a simple structure. I'll add a wrapper div with the class name projects, and inside it, I'll create a container for the images. Within this container, I'll place 4 images using regular HTML image tags. To keep things simple, I'm skipping the Next.js image component, but feel free to use it if you prefer. Next, we'll repeat the same process for the info page. I'll create a folder called info and add a file named page.jsx inside it. This file will also return a basic function. Inside, I'll add a div with the class name info and divide it into 2 columns. The first column will contain an image, while the second column will have a paragraph with some placeholder text. And that's it for the page setup. Next, let's add a navbar to navigate between these pages. Inside the app directory, I'll create a new folder called components. Inside this folder, I'll add a new file named nav.jsx. This file will contain a simple navigation component that we'll use across all our pages. I'll define a functional component called nav and return a nav element. The navbar will be divided into 2 sections, the logo and the links. First, I'll add a home link that takes users back to the main page. To handle navigation, I need to import the link component from Next link so we can create internal links. Next, following the same approach, I'll add 2 more link wrappers and include links for the projects page and the info page. Now, to make the navbar visible on all pages, I'll open the layout.jsx file, I'll import the nav component and render it inside the body of each page. And that's it, our navigation is now fully set up and the pages are connected with proper routing. Next, let's move on to styling. To keep things simple, I'll write all the CSS inside the globals.css file, but you can structure it differently if you prefer a more modular approach. First, I'll define some CSS variables for the background color and the text color to keep it easy to customize. Next, I'll start by resetting the default margins and padding and setting the box sizing to border box for consistent spacing. The body will use a custom font with a black background and white text. Images will be set to cover their container while maintaining their aspect ratio. For the navbar, I'll make it fixed at the top with a full width layout, padding for spacing, and flexbox for proper alignment. The navigation links will have a modern uppercase style using a custom font with proper spacing and font weight. Now let's style the home page. The home section will take up the entire viewport, centering the content both horizontally and vertically. The heading inside the home page will be positioned absolutely at the center with a bold uppercase font, creating a strong visual effect. To prepare for dynamic text animations, I'll add a clip path property to the heading, allowing the text to animate in over time. Each individual character inside the heading will also be styled separately, making sure it is positioned correctly for smooth transitions. Next, I'll style the projects page. The project section will have a full width layout with a dark background and large padding to create spacing around the content. The images inside the projects section will be stacked in a column, each separated by equal spacing. Now for the info page, I'll make it a full width section and split it into two equal columns. To enhance the text animation, I'll apply clip path effect to each line inside the paragraph to prepare it for a smooth reveal animation. Each line span inside the paragraph will be styled separately to allow for precise control when animating text dynamically. This setup will let us animate text smoothly when we add GSAP and SplitType later. With all this styling in place, the design is now structured and we are ready to move on to adding animations and transitions. To get started with implementing our page transition, the first step is to go to the layout.js file and import the view transition component from the Next view transitions library. Next, we need to wrap our content inside this view transition component. Now, let's move on to our navbar component to further configure the transition. The first thing we need to do is to add the use client directive at the top of the component. Since we'll be dealing with client-side interactions like page transitions and text animations, this directive ensures that our component runs in the browser environment and works without any issues with these libraries. Next, I'll import the use transition router from the Next View Transitions plugin. I'll then create a router instance using this hook, which will allow us to trigger page transitions dynamically when navigating between pages. Instead of using the Next.js link component, I noticed that the library still works fine with a standard HTML anchor tag as well, so for this project, I'll be using regular anchor elements instead of library provided link component. So let's update the links inside the navbar. While using regular anchor tags, we need to attach an on-click event listener that prevents the default behavior and triggers the transition manually. For example, in the home link, I'll add an onClick function that prevents the default navigation, then uses push method to navigate to the home page. Inside this function, we also pass onTransitionReady callback, which will execute our custom transition animation once the transition is ready. I'll repeat the same process for the projects and info links, making sure to update their routes accordingly. Now, let's define the slide-in-out transition function, which will handle the actual page transition. The slide-in-out function will control the animation of both the old page and new page as a transition. In this function, we'll be using the animate method from document element, which allows us to animate the root HTML element of the page. This method takes two arguments, an array of keyframes that define how the element will animate, an options object that specifies the duration, easing function, and other animation properties. First, we'll animate the old page by making it fade out and move slightly upwards. So, we'll define two keyframes. The first keyframe keeps the page fully visible at opacity 1 and positioned normally. The second keyframe makes the page fade out to opacity 0.2 while moving it upward by 35% using transform. This creates a smooth fade out and slide up effect as the old page transitions out. Next, we'll define the animation properties, a duration of 1.5 seconds, cubic Bezier easing, which creates a smooth easing effect, set field to forwards to ensure the element stays in its final position after the animation completes, and most importantly, the pseudo elements, meaning this animation specifically applies to the outgoing page. Once the old page has faded out, we animate the new page to make it smoothly appear from the bottom. For this, we again use animate method but target new root which represents the incoming page. Instead of moving the page itself, we animate its clip path which controls how much of the document is visible. The first keyframe starts with the entire page clipped at the bottom, meaning it's completely hidden. The second keyframe expands the clip path to reveal the full page from bottom to top. This makes the new page smoothly slide in as if it's being uncovered. We apply the same animation properties as the old page to keep the transition consistent and natural. Now let's test it out and see how it looks. Right now, during the transition, you'll notice that the new page is appearing behind the old page, which makes the transition look broken. What we want instead is for the new page to be placed on top of the old one. While exploring this library, I found that some developers had mentioned this issue, and the solution I found on GitHub thread and a couple of blogs didn't work out for me. So after some experiments and research, I landed on this solution. What I had to do is to adjust the default CSS properties for the view transitions to ensure proper layering. So let's go to the globals.css file and make the necessary changes. First, I'll disable the default transition animations by setting animation to none. This ensures that only our custom animations run, preventing conflicts. Next, I'll adjust the z-index for the view transition container to let us control the stacking order properly. The view transition group pseudo element acts as a wrapper for the both old and new views. By setting z-index to auto, we allow individual elements inside it to be layered independently. Now, I'll add styles for view transition image pair. Here, I'll set isolation to isolate, which creates a new stacking context, ensuring the old and new views don't interfere with each other. I'll also assign it a z-index of 1, placing it behind the actual transitioning elements. The next step is crucial, setting the correct stacking order for the old and new views. As you saw, the view transition new element represents the incoming page and the view transition old represents the outgoing page. By setting the new page's z-index to a large value and the old page's z-index to 1, we ensure that the new page always appears on top during the transition. With this fix, let's test it again. Now you can see that the new page appears on top of the old one and the animation looks correct and polished. So this is how you create a seamless page transition effect using Next.js and the View Transition API. Now that our page transitions are working smoothly, the next step is to integrate Lenis smooth scroll across all pages to further enhance the experience. To enable smooth scrolling on a page, the first thing you need to do is add the use client directive at the top of the page. Since Lenis runs on client side, adding this directive ensures that it works properly and prevents any issues related to the server side rendering. Next, I'll import the React Lenis component from the Lenis library. Now, all I need to do is to wrap the entire page content with the React Lenis component and instantiate it with root. And that's it. Now, let's quickly do the same for the other pages. For the projects page, I'll make the component client side, import the React Lenis component and wrap the entire content with it. Actually, you can do it on the layout directly instead of doing it on every single page, but I had it this way set up in my project while I was testing the transition, so I'll just follow the same route for now. I'll do the same for the info page, making sure all pages have smooth scrolling applied. And now, as you can see, the pages have that smooth scrolling effect, making the experience much more polished. If you want to further customize the scrolling behavior, you can explore additional configuration options in the Lenis documentation. Now, for one final step, let's add GSAP animations to the text elements to bring even more interactivity to the page. Let's bring our text elements to life by adding GSAP animations to the home page header first. To get started, I'll import the useRef hook from React so we can create a reference to our container. Next, I'll import GSAP, the useGSAP hook, and the SplitType plugin to handle text splitting. Since we are using GSAP's useGSAP hook, we also need to register it to ensure that animations work correctly. Now, we need to create a reference for the container which will serve as the scope within the useGSAP hook. Using a scope makes sure that the animations are only applied within the specific context, preventing unintended effects elsewhere on the page. Next, I'll define the useGSAP hook and set the scope to the container. Inside this hook, I'll first split the home page heading h1 into individual characters using SplitType plugin. Then, I'll set the initial position of each character to be 400 pixels below its original position so it starts behind the clip path. Finally, I'll create a GSAP animation that moves the characters back into the place one by one using a staggered effect. Each letter will move up from 40 pixels to its original position with a smooth easing and slight delay of 1 second before the animation starts. And that's it. Now, every time we navigate to the home page, you can see the text will animate in. Now let's add a line split trivial animation for the text on the info page. I'll follow the same steps as before. First, I'll add the useClient directive, import the GSAP and SplitType plugins, and register the useGSAP hook. Then, I'll create a ref for the container and define a new useGSAP hook. To keep the video short and transition focused, let me paste in some code and explain what's happening. In this case, instead of splitting text into characters, I'll use SplitType to break the paragraph into lines. Each line of the text will be wrapped inside a div with the class line, making it easier to animate as separate blocks. Then for each line, I'll extract the content and wrap it inside a span element for the animation. Next, I'll set the initial position of each line 400 pixels down so it starts behind the clip path. Finally, I animate each line to move up into view one by one with a staggered effect with a smooth easing function. The animation will take 2 seconds to complete with a small delay of 0.25 seconds before it starts. One more thing, since SplitType dynamically modifies the text structure, I'll return a cleanup function that reverts everything back when the component unmounts. And that's it. Now, the info page text smoothly animates in line by line, creating a clean reveal effect. With that, everything is done. We now have seamless page transitions, smooth scrolling, and dynamic text animations all working together flawlessly. Hope you found the guide helpful. See you in the next one.